G'day everybody, Ed here. How you all going? I'll make sure today that I keep my hands firmly on the wheel. Because kids, you should not do video and take your hands off the wheel at the same time. Although the Prius does have extremely good wheel alignment. However, having said that, that's crazy. I'm actually driving through South Melbourne at the moment, and you probably can't hear this, but there's this extraordinary roar outside, which is the Formula One Grand Prix cars going around. The Formula One is in town and starting this weekend. What did I have to talk to you about today? I just wanted to, as general catch up, thank you all for the wonderful birthday greetings. Had my birthday this week. So many things happening in marketing at the moment. Paul Colligan just let me know, and this is something that was actually released, in fact, last month in February, but sort of went really under everybody's radar, or more importantly, my radar. And it was that YouTube have actually offering a video download option, and even more excitingly for internet marketers, they're actually offering a paid download option. This is really exciting. You know, if you're offering tutorials in your particular market and you have a version on YouTube and you offer a high quality version for download for people to keep, and it's like a very cheap price, like a 99 cents, that's really exciting. Already got me. In fact, I put a video up today to test it out. At the moment, the service is only available via invitation, and you would have to be approved in the YouTube sort of partners program as well. So that might be something that you want to actually start investigating, because video is such an important part of what we're all doing. Definitely worth you keeping tabs on that. What else has been going on? The other thing which was interesting is Michael Fortins the very good copywriter from Canada, had a bit of a crack at me about an article that I wrote on my blog. I suppose it was talking about Mike Fortins' butterfly marketing. There's a launch going on at the moment, probably over by the time you see this, but and talking about, I suppose I was saying in my blog post that this type of upselling process, certainly it can annoy a few people, but sadly, disappointingly even, it works. It works hellishly well, and it's very well. And Michael, I think, had a couple of issues with what I had to say. One was the whole causing, what was it? That basically was saying that you were basically holding people's hostage. It was like you were receiving the money from the McDonald's person received your $20 bill, noticed you were paying for your cheeseburger with a $20 bill, and then holds on to it while they're asking. Pardon me. Very flattering on camera. But they were asking for all this stuff while they have your money, and yeah, I can sort of see that. And he was also saying that if there are 5 or 10 upsells or downsells, then that's a problem. I actually agree with him on that. That I personally wouldn't use that number of upsells or downsells, but I've also got to say is that since Mike actually did it probably around this time last year, maybe a bit later in the year, every major internet launch has had this component, and it's worked like gangbusters. And on Michael's blog there's a whole bunch of people saying, yeah, right on Mike, yeah, it's really annoying me, it's really getting me down, I'm not going to buy that stuff. Numbers don't pay out. And I think the other point that Michael was making was that people are having record sales, but not in the internet marketing industry, but not having profitability, that those sales weren't translating into profits. Well, that was my figure of speech, and I can tell you that it is translating into profits. The cost of sales, in other words, the cost of getting that money, has definitely increased, and it's made it harder for somebody to break into the whole internet marketing area. And yes, I understand I'm potentially a hypocrite, because yes, I do marketing in the internet marketing area. I'm sure some of you are saying, oh, he's only doing this because he's just trying to make sure he doesn't have as much competition. Well, yeah, that may be part of it. That may be, but it's not. It's just the facts of just trying to get through this traffic here. It's the fact of making sure, you don't compete in such a competitive area. Like, that's why I think, and I said this in my blog post, that I said, boy, if you take these techniques and you apply them judiciously in your own market, selling real stuff to real people, they'll work like double gangbusters. Because, and I think this is what got Mike off in the first place, was I was saying that the internet marketing marketplace tends to be more jaded, more critical than the other area. Other areas, full stop. So I don't know. What do you guys think? It's I'm not wedded to the whole argument. I look at the numbers and I see that upselling and downselling works. I also see, and this is something I personally will never do, but I know the guys who do it, and I just can't not argue with their numbers and their results, is it actually calling people on the phone, actually getting out there and hiring call centres to call people up, to sell people on the phone. There is no question that is an extraordinarily effective marketing technique. Now, it's one that I'll never do, because having 3 little children as I do, nothing drives me more bananas than finally getting Annabelle off to sleep and the phone starts ringing and wakes her up. It drives me banana-rama, absolutely nutso, totally nuts. It just makes me a little insane. And so I would never do, even though I know I could add more to my bottom line, I wouldn't use that particular piece of marketing. I think judicious use of upselling and downselling is absolutely fine. As long as there's relevance, I think you need to make sure there's relevance to the product. I also like to think that you're not selling something in an upsell that perhaps should have been part of the original product, and I've certainly seen that happen before. You'd want to really make sure that it's an add-on, but it's not such an important add-on that people feel bitter and feel bitterness in the process. Do you want to have a sales process where people have fun in the actual sales process? Yes, I think that's a worthy aim. It's an absolutely worthy thing to look for, that people have fun while they're doing your particular sales process. It makes absolute sense to me. However, sometimes I wonder whether that is more important, or making sure you deliver a fantastic product and make sure you have the customer service to back it up when people have an issue, whether that actually is not more the lasting reputation that you receive. Now, I notice on Michael's blog too, there are a couple of comments. There's the predictable, yeah, gee whiz. Now, and this is going to seem really, really harsh, and perhaps I shouldn't do it, I've got an image to protect, but as I also said in the comment section in Michael's blog post, people try to please everybody, and when you try to please everybody, you please nobody. I think that's a fundamental law. And so, that's the case. And so you get a bunch of people who are commenting, and for me, a lot of the comments when a launch particularly is on, I wonder how much of it is bitterness, because I know when I was extremely broke in the early 90s, and I can remember this vividly, Anthony Robbins first came out to Australia, and I was able to afford just the $97 sort of, the $97, what was it, the one-day selling thing. It was an excellent day too, by the way. It was fantastic. And I remember, of course, what was that but an upsell to his, what now is known in the trade as Unlimited Power Weekend, which I think at the time was a massive $400. But for me, it may as well have been $1 million. I could not afford that. It was unobtainable. And I remember how bitter I felt about that. I wanted to go. I was gutted. And I felt bitter about it and a bit angry with the world that I couldn't afford what was on offer. And I think there's an element of that. I think there are generally annoyed people as well. Because there's a certain personality. People are personality. You can never be any person that reckons they have 100% acceptance in their niche, that 100% of the market love them, is dreaming, or they haven't got much of a market. even somebody as lovable and as adorable as I am is not going to have, believe it or not, folks, believe it or not, there are some people who are extremely annoyed at what I do. They are extremely annoyed. They don't like the spelling. They don't like the fact that I take too long to have what I have to say. Ipso facto. All these different elements. And that's just part and parcel. I think if you're ever going to have an opinion, if you're ever going to make a difference, you have to take a position. You have to take a stand. And I think that's part of what we do. So now I'll just make sure we go across here properly. So, I think that's for me is a big part of the whole process. And I learned that from Gary Halbert, and that was the position. The other thing, and I'll leave it with this because the people who say I ramble on too much will say that I'm rambling on. One of the posters, I think his name was Admiral Neil, pointed out that, if the main argument and the reason why this is such a niche in the horrible, dirty, direct marketing and internet marketing world is that no major multi-million dollar, $100 million multinational company engages in the practice of upselling or downselling. And he said it with a little bit of smugness, I might say. Well, hello. Sorry, that's just not right. Where do we start? Rental cars. You rent the car, you get quoted the quote, then all of a sudden, do you want this insurance? Do you want to buy the fuel? Do you want to do this? Buying a car. You've surely all been the process where you buy the car, you sign on the dotted line, then they take you away to speak to that nice-looking person who's going to take you through all the alarm options and the special COTA sealer gee whizzo thingos. How the upselling and downselling occurs all the time. Subscriptions, you buy your cable subscription and all of a sudden there's the platinum option. Do you want to sign up for the platinum and you get 2 extra free movies? Please. Upselling and downselling occurs all the time. I think what's happened in in the internet's case is that it allows you to have the ability to make multiple offers and hone it to a fine art. If there's a mistake to be made, it's where you push your market too far, and only testing will work out where that balance is. And if you know what I always say, if you're not giving value in your market, then your market's going to dump you like a hotcake. It doesn't matter how good your product is, it doesn't matter what you do. But for people to have a look at a promotion that Frank Kern does or Mike does, and just make a snap judgment that this is ridiculous and it's going to be failure, you're just wrong. They're wildly successful, wildly profitable. Michael Fortins, wildly profitable, and more profitable than ever. They're, the internet marketing world as a whole made more money in the last few months since the economic crisis than they had in the past. Promotions have gone really well. There are some promotions that haven't, but let's face it. Let's talk about that another time, because I have, as they say in the classics, rabbited on. But good to speak to you. Hope you're enjoying it. Still enjoying the Facebook experiments a lot. Really, really getting a lot of good stuff out of that. And I'll share some more results with you next week on that. Alright, hope you're having a great day. Speak to you soon. In the ghetto, we're in the mean streets, in the ghetto. We're in the ghetto.